Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we're going to start chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, and we will do the Sanskrit verses as well as the English translation, and then we'll stop at certain points just to do a quick summary of what's just been discussed. So, Nani Ben, would you like to do the Sanskrit? And maybe Rianch, are you there? You can read the English.
Yes, Lord.
Okay, good.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. Please pardon me for my mistakes because I'm not an expert in Sanskrit, but I will just read along as it comes.
Yes, perfect.
Text 1. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tatha Krupaya Vishtam Ashru Purna Kuleshanam Vishidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha.
Translation. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words.
Text 2. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Utastva Kashamalam Idam Vishame Samupasthitam Anarya Chashtam Asavargyam Akriti Karam Arjuna.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy.
Text 3. Kailyabhyamna smagama partha naiktat tvaya upapadayate krudam hradaya dorabalyam tatko tishtha parantapa.
Translation. O son of Partha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy.
Yeah. Text 4. Arjuna Uvacha Katham Bhishmam Aham Sankhe Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishubhihi Pratiyostyami Pujarhav Arisudana.
Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows and battlemen like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?
Text 5. Garun ahatvahi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktam bhiksham apihaloke hatavartha kamanstu gurun aihaiva punjaya bhogan rudira pradigadhan.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls or my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Text 6. Nachaitada vidmaha kataram no gariyo yadva jayema dativano jayeyuhu yan eva hatvana chichi vishamasa devastitaha pramukhet taratarashtraha.
Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not dare to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Text 7. Karpanya doshopahat svabhavah pruchami tvam dharma samudachetah yastreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyateham sadimam tvam prapannama.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and my soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Text 8. Nahi prapashyami mama nyudyad yachokam uchoshanam indriyanam avyapya bhumava asamtam radham rajyam shuranam api chadipyatyam.
I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
Text 9. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva rishikesham Hudakeshaha parantapaha na yotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim bahuvaha.
Translation. Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastised of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent.
Text 10. Tam uvacha rishikeshaha prahastam eva bharata senayor ubhayor matye vishidantam idam vachaha.
O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following word to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
Wonderful. Thank you. So let's do a quick summary, firstly, of the second chapter, and then we'll do a summary of the first 10 verses. So second chapter is, as the title says, contents of the Gita summarized. It's an overview of the philosophy of Sanatana Dharma. Arjuna approaches Krishna in a mood of humility and desperation, prompting Krishna to present the most fundamental aspects of spiritual wisdom regarding our identity and our duties in life. So this is effectively summary of second chapter. Then Krishna concludes the practical application of such wisdom by delineating the symptoms of one who has fully realized the truths through this process of Sanatana Dharma Bhakti Yoga. In this way, Krishna summarizes the spiritual journey from beginning to end. Of course, there is no end to the spiritual journey because this is at the point at which real life begins. So we read the 10 verses, and summary of that is: determined not to fight, but simultaneously is torn and confused, Arjuna approaches Krishna. I am in dire need of guidance. He humbly submits, please enlighten me so that I can mitigate my miserable condition. So through Arjuna's example, we learn the first fundamental step in spirituality. The problem ahead of us is bigger than we think. Arjuna realized, wow, in front of me, this is a situation I am beyond dealing with. I need help. So what did he do? He approached the Supreme Master. One must approach a guru who comes in an authentic line of teachers who has mastered the spiritual art. That's not so easy because guru means heavy Guru means one who is one with Krishna. Not one in the sense as is Krishna, but his instructions are the same as Krishna's. So he's one with Guru Krishna. Guru means one who is enlightened about spiritual, is a master of the spiritual arts. So no ordinary person can be a guru. Needs to be a special soul who has come empowered by Krishna. Most things in life require guidance and instruction under a qualified teacher, and spiritual discipline is no different. Sometimes we find people are so impatient. They want spiritual knowledge immediately. Within 5 minutes, I should know everything. Well, apply that in the material world. See how far you get. If you want to become a professional, a doctor or accountant or whatever, you have to train for years and years. So spiritual life is the greatest science. Nothing greater than that. It can take a lifetime to study just a small section of spiritual life. One may argue that everything they require for their spirituality is contained within. While this may be true, we still require help to reawaken that inner consciousness. Oh, yes, I can, within myself, I know everything. Yeah, well, why are you in the material world struggling? Struggling to pay your bills, struggling with your body? Because we don't know everything. We don't know anything. We have to admit that and then get help, because help is readily available nowadays. As a saying goes, one who accepts himself as a guru accepts a fool or a disciple. And the Lord himself set the standard. Although he's the absolute truth, all-knowing, still he accepts a spiritual master when he descends to earth. So this is a very important subject, important matter. If we want to make spiritual advancement, we have to seek spiritual guidance from the right source. Okay, let's go to the next section. So this is the first instructions now Arjun is going to receive from.
Yeah, text 11. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashochan Anvashocastvam Pragna Vadamscha Bhashase Gatasun Agatashumscha Nanu Shochanti Panditaha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead.
Text 12. Natva eham jatu nasham natvam neme janadipaha nacheva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayam ataha param.
Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be.
Text 13. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara praptira dhiras tatra namohyati.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Text 14. Matra sparshastu konteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agamapayino nityas tamsa titikshava bharata.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. derives from sense perception, O saying of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Text 15. Yam hina vyatayante te purusham purushar shaba samdukhas dukham tiram so mrutyatva kalpate.
O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress in the steady and good is certainly eligible for liberation.
Text 16. Scroll it up. Yes, please. Nashato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah upayor api drushto natas tvanyos tattva darshibihi.
Those who are seers of truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
Text 17. Avinashi tu tadviti yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avya yashyasya na kashchit kartum arhati.
That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Text 18. Anattavanta ime deha nitya syuktaha sharirinaha anashino prameyesya tasmad yudhya swabharata.
The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Text 19. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam upahotau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate.
Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks its slain is in knowledge, for the self slays not nor enslaved.
Text 20. Na jayate mruyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha ajo nityaha shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire.
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and it will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Text 21. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sa purushaha partha kam gayanti hantikam.
O Parla, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill?
Text 22. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani granati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Text 23. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati marutaha.
The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, not burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind.
Text 24. Achedyoyam adayoham akletyo soshya evacha nityaha sarvagataha sthanur achaloyam sanatanaha.
This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. She is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Thing.
Text 25. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmad evam viditvainam nanu shochitum arhasi.
Translation. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
Text 26. Atha chainam nitya jatam nityam va manyase mrutam tathapi tvam mahabaho nainam shochitum arhasi.
If, however, you think the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament. O mighty arm.
Text 27. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mrutasya cha tasmad apariharyerte natvam shochitum arhasi.
One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after that one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, it is the unavoidable discharge of your duty. You should not lament.
Text 28. Text 28. Avyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhanai eva tatra ka paridevana.
Translation. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation?
Text 29. Ashcharyavata pashyati kashchid enam ashcharyavat vadanti tatheva chanyaha ashcharya vachachainam anyaha srinoti shrutavpya enam vedana chaiva kaschita.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
Text 30. Dehi nityam avadyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitum arhasi.
O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Thank you. Wonderful. So this is, we take a break here because it's a natural stop. Krishna has in many verses, nearly 21 verses, he has described the, or 20 verses, he's described the soul. The first instruction. Krishna begins by teaching Arjuna the most fundamental understanding of spiritual life. Because if we don't even understand who we are, then what chance have we got to practice spirituality? As a driver operates a car, or as a bird lives in a cage, we, the spirit soul, are similarly utilizing this body. So the driver in the car, he uses the car. When he doesn't need the car, he leaves it alone. When he needs the car, he uses it. So in the same way, we also need this body. We are in this body. We live in this body. We're using it. But we are not the body. Just like the car, the driver is not the car. Same with the bird who lives in the cage. They're different. The bird is different from the cage. But if the bird identifies with the cage, then that would be nonsense, because he is not the cage, he's distinct from the cage. So in the same way, if we identify with the body, then it shows our level of understanding is very low. Although living within the body, we are simultaneously different from it, temporarily operating it to perform activities, fulfilling our desires, in interacting with the world around us. So lesson number 8, this distinction is the first teaching that Guru imparts. At every moment, our body is changing, right? Every moment, our body is changing. So we change from a baby to a child, to a boy, to a girl, to a young man, young woman, mature man, mature woman, and then we age. The body ages, but we remain the same. The body changes all the time. So we can remember how small we were when we were little. We don't have the same body. So the body has changed. But that we is still remembering all the changes. So we have remained the same. So that we is the soul. We do not have the same body that we did when we were children, but we still remain the same person. What is it that is not changing? It is important to realize our true identity as spirit souls. If we don't, then we're going to continuously undergo this process of reincarnation. This is the first step to get out of this cycle of birth and death, reincarnation. If we don't understand, then we're going to keep on accepting these unnatural material bodies. That's not us. It's unnatural, it's foreign to us, but we're accepting it as our own. And also, if we don't understand our true identity, we're going to continue suffering and having distress of life in this material world. So, one very practical thing to do every single day, do it at the same time, same place, so we don't miss it. At least once a day, look in the mirror and say to ourselves, I am not this body, I am pure spirit soul, servant of the Supreme Soul. So this is very practical. And in due course of time, when you repeat it enough, we'll actually integrate it into our life, build it into our psyche, that we are not this body. Very important to do this. Otherwise, we're going to just keep on thinking we are the body and living our lives according to the bodily needs as opposed to the spiritual needs. And Krishna has very nicely explained. The soul cannot be moistened, cannot be cut, cannot be dampened, cannot be killed, cannot be not subject to birth or death. So it's eternal, just like he is eternal. But he is almighty, we are tiny. And we are dependent, he's independent. Big difference between the two. So we can stop there halfway through. Surinder, anything you'd like to share?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhu, and Dandavat to all the Vaishnavas. Well explained, Prabhu. Everything was fantastic as per the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, as purport given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Everything fantastic and very nice. And in a summary form, we can conclude that some basic understanding is required. And as Krishna, Lord Shri Krishna is teaching Arjuna, the first principle in our spiritual life is to accept a guru and surrender the lotus feet of Guru and inquire submissively and serve the spiritual master and follow the instruction of the spiritual master. Because if we fail to follow the order of the spiritual master, that is called Guru Avagya, and it is offense to the holy name. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master is one of the 10 offenses we can commit to the holy name, chanting of the holy name of Lord Shri Krishna. So we should avoid this aparad. So one time, for example, we can elaborate by giving some example. One time, our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Rakshit Hardev Goswami Maharaj, was ordered by his guru, that is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to attend to his service, and he was planning to give service, engage Param Gurudev in service. And Gurudev at that time, I think he was not living in the ashram. He was a householder, and he was away from home, and he got news that his mother passed away. And then he had to decide what to do. You know, in spirituality, there is always some spiritual gradation, and you should always aim to follow the highest level of Krishna conception. So what to do, whether to attend mother had passed away, or to obey the instructions of his guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So our Param Gurudev, he by example taught that, you know, in spiritual life, especially we are spiritual servant of Krishna and servant of Sri Krishna. Therefore, he went to attend to the service of His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and could not attend to the funeral ceremony of his mother. That doesn't mean he does not love his mother. It is because he understands that by attending to the service of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his mother also will benefit, because when you become devotee and practice Krishna consciousness, it is said like that 10 previous generation and 10 future generations, they will all benefit from the sukriti we derive by practicing Krishna consciousness in a Sudha Bhakti mood. And Param Gurudev, he practiced Sudha Bhakti. In this way, some example given. Also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we may give an example like Srinivas Thakur. There was Harinam Sankirtan at the place of Srinivas Thakur, and Srinivas Thakur's son died. And at that moment, Harinam Sankirtan was being performed and Gauranga Mahaprabhu was dancing. So he didn't want to disturb the dancing Harinam Sankirtan of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and the Vaishnavas. So despite his son had died, he didn't disturb, or he followed the Harinam Sankirtan. So there is always some spiritual gradation, and as per time, place, circumstance, and instructions with the scriptures and Gurudev, then we need to act properly. In this way, so the first lesson is that we are spiritual servant of Krishna, servant of Krishna, as Gauranga Mahaprabhu has explained, Jivera Swarupa Hoi, Krishnara Nitya Das 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 Anudas. Hare Krishna Prabhu Nitai Gaur Haribol.
Krishna. And I recall how Srivas Thakur, he said to his family members that don't cry, because he was weeping. He said, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is disturbed, I will commit suicide myself. He really threatened them. Don't cry. Just
he tried to avoid like a commotion among the family members. so that not to disturb the Harinam Sankirtan of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and the Vaishnavas. In the service mood of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and the Vaishnavas, in a higher level of Krishna consciousness, he prioritized that. Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaur Hare.
Thank you for sharing that. Any questions, Naniben, Prabhaben, anything that? And thank you, Naniben, for reading the Sanskrit. Very-
Poor attempt, nothing to
No,
do.
no, not at all.
Mataji. Yes, very interesting, this chapter 2. One thing is, we find it hard to understand. Why does it say contents of the Gita summarized? Is everything that is from chapter 1 to 18? 18? Chapters of Bhagavad? Yes, 1 to 18. Is it summarized in this chapter?
Not in full, but it's basically giving you a nutshell of the philosophy that we are spirit soul and what is our duty in relation to our body and the spirituality and God. And also, because it's also describing the symptoms of one who follows a devotee. So because of those three factors, it's regarded as, in a nutshell, a summary of the whole philosophy. But it doesn't include everything. It doesn't include the three modes of material nature, for example. It doesn't include the essence, the sort of the finer essence of bhakti, like chapter 12 does. But what it does, it gives you a overview of the roadmap in this world, the road, how to live in this world. If you're thinking that you're not the body, you're the soul, that's really good. And then if you're thinking I'm going to do my duty according to my body, but also according to my nature, which is a soul, and it's also describing the person who's following that duty. So in that sense, it's giving the overview of our roadmap in this world.
Yeah. Another interesting thing is that it's describing the soul as he. Is it because that is the Purusha, the part and parcel of Krishna?
Right.
Is it?
And no, I mean, generally the soul is regarded as inferior in the sense that subordinate to the supreme.
Yes.
So in that sense, no, that's not accurate in the sense that it may, for convenience sake, Prabhupada would have put he, but actually it's female. It's the soul is subordinate to the male aspect of the creation.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the Purush is the enjoyer, Prakati or is the enjoyed. So we are the enjoyed. But
so we fall in the Prakriti, do we?
We fall into the female aspect, yeah. But the beauty of spirituality, it always turns around, because the enjoyed enjoys more than the enjoyer in spirituality. Because Radharani, for example, you could argue she falls into the category of Prakriti in one sense, because she's the enjoyed. But because she enjoys Krishna so much, he is failing to understand, how is this even possible? That this person loves me so much that I cannot understand. So he becomes under the control of the enjoyed. So, in the spiritual terms, although Krishna is the enjoyer, the Purush, the pure devotee conquers him through his or her love for him. And he becomes the enjoyer, although he's enjoyed. And he doesn't want to become the enjoyer anyway. And that's why he becomes the enjoyer. So, does that make sense?
Yes, it will take some time to digest.
Yes. The Jivatma is the enjoyed. That's for sure. We are created for the purpose of enjoyment of the Lord. But the way spirituality works is very dynamic, and it turns everything upside down, because the enjoyed can actually become the enjoyer. Although he can't become God, he becomes the enjoyer because he can control God through the bhakti process.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. That's interesting point you made. Probably.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I joined a bit late today because it's a long FaceTime from my son. He's in Hong Kong now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he done a FaceTime, and then I kept saying I want to go on satsang. That's why I missed nearly 15 to 20 minutes and I joined a bit late.
No
But
worries.
the last bit I little bit understand, not much of it. When it says just changing of the clothes.
That's good example. Krishna gives a good example there.
So our Atma also change with another body. Is that right?
No, Atma stays the same, but the body we change. Atma is
No.
always the same. So the same
Yes.
Atma will go into one body, into another body.
Yeah,
It's the same Atma. But
we get the new body.
yes, that's it.
As
Just
we
like,
change the new clothes.
as the old clothes get, torn, we throw them away, we buy new clothes. So we stay the same, but the
Stay
clothes
the
are different. Yeah, yeah.
change, yeah. And that's a little bit I got in my mind. And the other one you said something about you will remember everything from your childhood, even if you get older.
Hmm,
So are you saying the Atma is still the same,
correct.
or mind is still the same?
Mind
Or
is,
Atma and mind is same?
is connected, yeah. Atma and mind are connected. Yeah.
And Atma and mind will still remember the childhood.
Yeah.
And even he or she gets older, Atma will still remember the thing, and it will stay young. It will not go.
always youthful. Just like Krishna is always youthful, so is the Atma. Correct.
Yeah, so I got that one a little bit in my
Yes.
mind, but I have
Very good.
missed some. I have missed some of it, so I have to. I will have to do it on the YouTube tonight. It will come as
Yeah.
the Mataji was reading.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mataji was reading, so that will come on the YouTube.
Yeah. Everything.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine then. Thank you very much.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, we can stop. And
So where is Aruna Mataji?
oh, she's busy
Not
doing
today.
taxi service for her
Okay.
daughter
All right.
who's got an exam, so she has to.
All right. Her husband well now, yeah?
Yeah, better. Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, he was not well, was he?
yeah, a little bit.
I think few weeks ago he was not
Yeah,
well.
he was okay. He's okay.
He's okay now.
Okay.
Shrimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.